But the minister came, approached me and said, tell me, are you sure the people that were arrested are the right people?
Hello, my beautiful people. I hope you are well. Welcome back to Allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh, allegedly. My people, my people, my people.
Today, my people, Parliament exploded, and the man at the center, suspended Deputy Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya. My people, he did not just defend himself. He exposed cracks and contradictions and explosive admissions that will haunt a police service that is already in crisis. Here's everything he said, and the really troubling parts nobody's talking about. So stick around, okay? So we start by the devices that were seized in a pre-dawn raid, right? It was seized, and we remember what actually happened. He was complaining about how he's going to use his phones, how he's going to be giving feedback, and how this raid was just so unprecedented. It's trying to affect him and preparing for his things. My people, MPs today were forced off an inquiry for conflict of interest. Yes, that's what happened. Accusations came in front center about the fact that political murder investigations were buried. Today's hearing, my people, was messy. That's how I can explain it. And Sibiya's words are going to be replayed for a very, very long time. Let us break it down, okay? I know you want to understand who Sibiya is. Sibiya is the suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner in charge of crime detection. This year, he, my people, has been the eye of a storm after KZN National Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi publicly accused senior police figures of interfering in politically sensitive cases. This, my people, includes the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team. Those accusations kicked off this ad hoc parliamentary inquiry because it had to. The timeline we are talking about is from Mkhwanazi's press briefing all the way to Sibiya being placed on leave, to devices being raided, and today we are dealing with parliament hearings, okay? So before Sibiya could even give evidence, the hearing went off the rails. He asked two MPs to please excuse yourselves. He asked them to excuse themselves because they had laid criminal charges that involve people that are linked to the cases under probe. That forced withdrawals and a short heated standoff nyana, and it changed the tone. In actual fact, the tone was changed for the whole day.
And thank you, Chair and honorable members. Just to find out in relation to the fact that before we broke, Chair, there was a discussion that was actually being discussed in relation to the concern that we raised in relation to one of the honorable members in relation to his participation in these proceedings, considering the fact that the honorable member is a complainant in a member that led to a session seizure at my house. And at the same time, I have to come and account before the same parliamentary member as well. So as far as I'm concerned, there's a conflict of interest. I just want to be led by Parliament and advised with all the utmost respect. I just need to be guided by Parliament, by the Chair, by this House, as to what is the final verdict, so that I can also take legal advice from my team and then take it from the Chair. Thank you very much,
Chair. Thank you so much, General. And I want to thank you for your courage to raise the matter with us. It's within your right to raise that matter. We are a committee of Parliament that runs in accordance with the rules that Parliament has adopted. And the rules that we have do not empower us to take any decision regarding the participation or the membership of members to committees. The only recourse that we have as a committee is to write to the Speaker of Parliament and alert that office about any other matter that would have arisen in relation to any member of the committees of Parliament. So we will accordingly bring the matters to the attention of the office of the Speaker of Parliament.
Am I allowed to take legal advice? And if the chair says no, I'm 100% ready to proceed, but I just want to get, because I'm trying to remain within the rules, and also not for Parliament to think that I'm being difficult, but it's a matter that we've been discussing with the legal team, because there's a better way of, maybe from my side of my legal team, to be able to express it better than I can, if it is allowed. But if the chair says no, let's proceed. I'm ready, Chair. But it is my humble request that I be given an opportunity to hear, or for my legal team to be allowed to actually express my concern more in a legal form, if it is allowed.
In terms of the terms of reference that we have passed, we have said that you have a right to consult with your lawyers, but when you come here to our proceedings, your lawyers may not represent you in our proceedings. And if you, for instance, say, I want to consult with my lawyers and hear what they say, and then I will come back and sit on this chair. It's not for you to tell us what they are saying. Remember, it's your right to consultation. And if you come back and say, no, I have consulted with my lawyers, let's proceed. Yeah, I don't think we can deny you that right to consult your lawyer.
Just 2 minutes, Chair.
Yeah, thank you.
Good, Chair.
These people who are said to have conflict of interest, my people, is DA's Lisa Marie Skerling, and MKP's David Skosana. But why does that even matter? When oversight MPs have direct legal ties to the matter, every answer the committee gets can be attacked as biased.
I'm ready, Chair.
When you say you are ready, you mean we can proceed?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much.
And it gives Sibiya an immediate defensive pivot, obviously, because that's what he's going to say. He will say, I am targeted. I'm being targeted here, which are words he really loves using.
I just want to say, now the gadget has been taken as well, and then when I am preparing myself to participate like all others who participated before me. Now, in my case, I'm under pressure, I'm under siege. I'm being called a criminal daylight in front of all South Africans. I've been called stupid. Thank you, Chair. Just before I continue, Chair, in response to my short meeting with my legal team, I'm advised that I will proceed. I'm proceeding, but I must note or indicate rather that I do so under protest, Chair, in case at the ultimate end, because I'll be participating in a process that I believe could be tainted. And as a result, I just want to move that, Chair. Thank you very much.
You'll remember them from the day he was raided. Days before Parliament, my people, Sibiya's home was raided. His Centurium home was raided and electronic devices were seized under a warrant listing charges like defeating the ends of justice, corruption, and money laundering. Sibiya described the list to media as everything they could find and publicly framed the move as a political and very unlawful move. That admission that the warrant contained a catalogue of grave allegations is a major vulnerability, let's be honest. Whatever is on those devices could either back his story or be the smoking gun that investigators are actually gunning for. Pun intended. So now, the most questionable things that he said are the following. I actually heard a whole lot of them, but today I'm just going to mention 4 of them. So the first thing he said was he admitted, my people, that the search was broad and intimidating, right? He said he thought he might be arrested and described the seizure as sweeping. So that on its own feeds a narrative of being boxed in actual fact, this is unfair, I'm being treated unfairly, but also confirms the state has evidence that they consider important enough to seize. Yep, that's what it means. They would not look for a warrant if there was no need for them to. Number two, he admitted, my people, today, he admitted to operational choices that sparked the KZN fallout.
I must say, I've had a good working relationship with General Mkhwanazi for years. And there was no issue at all. The only issue came just after the arrest of AKA. It came just after the arrest of AKA. I participated in the as the team were planning, and even in my case.
Okay, Honorable Nhlanhla.
Thank you, Chair, and apologies for doing this. The General is talking about an arrest of AKA. I'm not sure if should we take it that automatically he's referring to the arrest of the alleged murderers of AKA. So maybe if that can be, we don't want to assume that he's talking about what we think he's talking about, because he's referring to an arrest of AKA.
Well, whether he assumes that we all know what AKA.
My apology, Chair and member.
We're not talking about it. It's a very sensitive matter. We just saying that for the purpose of our records, if we can say everything for what it is.
So Sibiya basically said today that he was actually basically explaining how he directed a KZN deputy to brief then ministerial officers about the AKA murder probe without actually going through KZN's commissioner, which is our king, our man, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. He then said this was meant to bypass perceived obstruction.
That is where the difference between myself and General Mkhwanazi came in, and it was not meant to be a big issue. After the arrest of those that were involved, now we were somewhere in Cape Town with in an operation. It was Minister Cele then, but the minister came, approached me and said, "Tell me, are you sure the people that were arrested are the right people?" And I said, "I'm quite sure, Minister," because I was involved in the process. I said, "I'm quite sure." He said, "Can I have the team to brief me, because I am the one who is going to be asked also in other forums, especially the media." I said, "That can be arranged, Minister. Let me arrange it right away." I then contacted the province. Now, in contacting the province, I contacted the Deputy Provincial Commissioner of KZN. Yes, it is indeed true that I was supposed to actually contact the Provincial Commissioner as the Provincial Commissioner of KZN. But I contacted the Deputy Provincial Commissioner simply because of we have been having a good relationship with General Mkhwanazi. I never thought he will actually make a big issue out of it. The main reason was, normally when I contact him, you find that he is busy in a meeting. He's chairing a meeting, and normally when he chairs a meeting, either his phone is on silent or is with someone else. Then I would then call the next person who I think can assist. The process, the intention was just to try and make sure that there's not going to be any delay. Now, and I said, "Can you please arrange with the team members and also inform the provincial commissioner?" That was General Mkhwanazi at the province. General Mkhwanazi later came to me and said, "Hey, General, can you please call the PC yourself, because he's not impressed?" I said, "Okay." And I called the PC with all the confidence that I had, because I knew we had a relationship, me and him. And then when he responded, he was fuming. He was very angry. And he said, Sibiya, General, you're not going to phone my province and order my people around." And I said, whoa, General, we're not fighting. Nobody's fighting, please. Let's not go there. He says, "You call my people here and you tell them that the minister must come to head office, and I don't know about that." And I said, "No, General, I'm apologizing, but I just wanted to carry out the instruction." He said, "No member is going to Pretoria. No one is going there. I don't report to politicians." That is what he said.
But that exact move is what Mkhwanazi says precipitated KZN being excluded from national plans. That's a very big red flag. That on its own, my people, is an internal override that looks like interference. Why would someone do that? Let's just break that down. Why would someone do that? In his testimony, he has reignited some form of scrutiny over his role in the handling of AKA Forbes's murder investigation and the subsequent fallout with the KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. So now, while Sibiya claims his decision to bypass Mkhwanazi was actually driven by the urgency and perceived obstruction A more critical reading suggests the possibility of a lot of strategic concealment, raising serious concerns about internal interference and obstruction of justice, my people.
But when he said, you go tell the minister that I say, I also didn't take it kind that, but we are all trained members of the South African police, and we grew up within the discipline of the police. And from a student, you get trained who must salute who must stand up when who comes in, who must actually salute, who must greet who, how. Now, the way he's heavy and talking to me in an aggressive manner, his tone was very heavy. I didn't take it kind myself. Then I said, but General, when you order me now and say I must go tell the minister that you are ordering me around now, and it wasn't meant to be like that. I mean, you're senior for you to talk to me. Then he said, oh, I don't know where you're coming with this thing of you being a senior. Then he dropped the phone. Then he followed me with a very long message that tells me that he's appointed in terms of the constitution, then I'm appointed in terms of the police regulation, and then he's responsible for policing in KZN. He said, from now onwards, you've got nothing to do with KZN. And now I'm being banned by the provincial commissioner to operate in KZN when in fact I'm operating nationally.
Here are the key incidents that I think we must talk about. Now, Sibiya directed the KZN Deputy Commissioner to brief then Minister Bheki Cele on arrests that related to the AKA case, bypassing Mkhwanazi entirely. He justified this move by claiming Mkhwanazi was unavailable or obstructive. Did you hear what I said? You don't go to Mkhwanazi. You go to his deputy and ask his deputy to go and brief the minister. And not ask Mkhwanazi because you are saying Mkhwanazi is going to be unavailable or he is busy, obstructive. What do you mean? Mkhwanazi reportedly viewed this as a breach of protocol and obviously retaliated by withdrawing KZN's national crime-fighting operations. This is a very sticky situation where these two people are definitely having a bit of like a serious quarrel or fight with regards to positions and why protocols are now not being observed.
When you call meetings to discuss the project at head office, these people are not there. KZN is beginning to suffer. The project are not there. The cash in transit, people want to know, cash in transit is high in KZN. We've got hitmen in KZN. We've got drugs at the harbors. We've got a lot of crime. We've got the people burning the trucks. We've got a number of issues that were happening in KZN, and yet we need to intervene from head office, and then there's no relationship. So KZN was suffering. So it was a question of we need to fix this relationship so that at least crime does not suffer. That is how it happened.
Is that your reference to what you say in paragraph 111 of your statement, page 34?
Is it because you know that I am going to pick certain things up? I'm smart enough to also try and figure out what you're doing. Maybe you're trying to conceal certain information from me that someone else may not be able to pick up. What's going on here? You know, there are strategic implications to everything. And my people, if Sibiya's intent was to avoid Mkhwanazi's oversight, the following risks will obviously emerge. Here, I'll just talk about the three. The first being obstruction of justice, which is obvious, which is actually one of the charges that he is being charged with when it comes to the case that Mkhwanazi has opened. Obstruction of justice, defeating the ends of justice in actual fact. So, bypassing a senior provincial official in a high-profile murder case suggests an obvious attempt to control or manipulate the investigative narrative. If Mkhwanazi is known for his sharp scrutiny, for example, my people, Sibiya's actions may have been designed to prevent internal challenge or exposure. You would not want Mkhwanazi to pick up the things that you know for sure he's going to pick up. So you'd rather ask someone else. That's my assumption.
On my way to Parliament to go and represent the National Commission at this side, I got a call from General Mkhwanazi. And then he said to me, hello, boss, you called me boss on the day. He said, hello, boss, will you be attending the, will you be coming to Durban? I said, yes, General, I will be there. And then he said, Ubo Chopel, he said, you must let me know because you are the senior manager of the South African Police Service. I must know when you are in the program because you will have a puncture and the next thing you won't know what happened to you. I said, no, General, I will let you know. And then I didn't let him know though, but I went to Durban. So I'm just indicating, or rather demonstrating that even on the 4th of July, the eve of the press conference, I spoke to him and I didn't even know and I didn't see it coming actually.
The second would be the institutional breakdown. That's an obvious case because the fallout led to KZN's exclusion from national crime operations. This is a decision that obviously weakened coordination in a province plagued by cash and transit heists, drug trafficking, and violent crime. And who, to be honest, does this affect? It affects the citizens of KZN. It affects the citizens of South Africa because police can't work together with the national crime operations, That's definitely not necessarily a good thing to have. And the third being the political optics, because the involvement of Minister Cele and the timing of the briefing suggests the fact that maybe Sibiya may have been managing political expectations here. And I'm definitely sure he did not want Mkhwanazi to tell him, I'm not a politician, I'm not going to serve politicians. And in actual fact, he mentioned that in his testimony where he said, Mkhwanazi said he would not be going to serve the minister and political people, but his argument as per Sibiya was saying, yeah, he's a minister, but he's still your leader, so there's no way you're going to say that.
The date in which that happened.
Or maybe just give us a month. It was in here.
I can simply say it is the AKA arrest. It was on the day the people were arrested, because what happened? It was an anniversary. It was almost a year after the murder of AKA, and the spokesperson comes and say, the media wants to know what is going on. It's almost a year and there's nothing that is happening on the arrest of the AA. So what must I tell the media? At the same time, that's when I started getting involved too much with the team and say, guys, now it's all in our name and now we are being disgraced here. Now what is going on? How can we assist? How can we support that we trace these people? Then we arranged a meeting with the team, and then myself and the national commissioner, we flew to Durban. We met the team with the provincial, the acting provincial commissioner, if I remember. But there was a team there and the prosecutor that was involved. We met at the airport, and then we agreed that they will actually arrest, because we knew where the people are and who was involved, and they agreed they were going to arrest, and they arrested.
And yeah, guys, it gets very complicated, but the truth of the matter is Sibiya may have been managing political expectations rather than prioritizing investigative integrity, which is a bit of a challenge. And I just want to quickly also talk about the allegations and red flags of this whole thing, because there's a procedural breach here. This is where there was a directing of subordinates without the commissioner's consent. And that on its own undermines SAPS hierarchy and accountability. What would have happened if Mkhwanazi says, no, it's fine, you can actually take my people to go and assist you in Johannesburg, for example. You have already bypassed a protocol, and there's a reason why you have bypassed that protocol, and no one else would trust you with anything else if you do that. Why would you do that? Now, another allegation or another red flag would be the retaliatory fallout, which implies that power struggles that compromised public safety actually had to happen. I sometimes do think Sibiya wanted them to fight because he wanted to accomplish certain things that he wanted to accomplish. And if they fought, there was no reason for him to speak to Mkhwanazi, nor have any form of explanation for him, So it was a bit of like them fighting was a bit of like a solution if he allegedly, because it's not confirmed, was also part of all these criminal cartels and the things that they do, or maybe was playing a role in whichever manner with regards to being of assistance to them, And the third red flag would be the suspension context, because Sibiya's current suspension may be linked to a very broader concern about his transparency. Why are you not transparent? His leadership conduct, he has questionable leadership qualities that I don't understand. I don't even get why he's a deputy national commissioner, but that's not my thoughts to lay out there. A conclusion here with regards to this particular point, because it's a huge point, is I think Sibiya's testimony, when viewed through a very critical lens, my people, kind of got to a point of raising the possibility that his operational choices were not merely pragmatic, but maybe they were deliberately evasive. He was literally just being deliberately evasive, so he does not have to explain himself in future, And if Mkhwanazi posed a threat to exposing flaws of misconduct, bypassing him would obviously be interpreted as a calculated move to basically get to a point of obstructing internal accountability. He doesn't have to explain anything wrong that he's doing to anyone else if he wants to interfere with the AKA case, for example, if he is assisting someone with evidence and whatever he is doing. If he tells Mkhwanazi, Mkhwanazi can smell a lie from a very long mile away, you know. But if he doesn't, then he's safe, because no one would rather fight about something I didn't tell you, but still have the ability to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. So to me, the scenario demands further investigation into the integrity of the SAPS leadership, together with the mechanisms, my people, by which high-profile cases are in actual fact managed in this regard. Sibiya actually happened to have said so many things, okay? Very, very, very scary, particularly because of the fact that it was being said by him. However, I know people. He also said that KZN was now unfortunately being sidelined from national operations.
When you call meetings to discuss the project at head office, these people are not there. KZN is beginning to suffer.
So if this was true, my people, that on its own actually raises the grave possibility that some form of evidence and dockets were moved or locked away. And he did actually mention this and clear it out to say, yeah, I got the dockets, but the dockets were not dealt with for all these years. Some were for 5 years, they were not being dealt with. And for 3 months, just because I had the dockets for 3 months, then they have issues. That on its own confirms the fact that he did have the dockets. And this on its own is a claim that, if proven, suggests some form of procedural tampering with politically sensitive cases.
I also questioned why the dockets are at headquarters when it was agreed that some dockets from the PKTT be returned to the station of origin. And that is still the case until today, Lieutenant General Sibiya. And you accept that?
No, I don't agree. And
You don't agree with what? I'm saying the position as far as the PKTT is concerned, they still remain in place. They still investigate all these dockets. They've been returned. They're working on them. They're processing them. They're proceeding with prosecutions, etc. And they have now been extended until 26 March 2026. I thought we agreed that earlier. Those are the objective facts.
Council, you give me a wrong proposal. And when you ask me, do you agree? And I say no. And you say you don't agree with what? I'm saying to you now, Council. When the dockets were collected and were taken to General Mkhwanazi, he rejected. And when he rejected the docket, General Sintumule immediately informed the National Commission. The National Commissioner said, let General Sibiya make a plan, the DNC make a plan. Then they put a team together, and General Motsepe prepared a report and a request for a budget for the members to go down and carry on with these investigations. It's not a question of we were disbanding and then starting something new. We can't close a task team only to start another one. That was not the idea. And I'm sure we all agree that General Mkhwanazi did agree that he refused to accept the docket because he says he was not told how the docket left. When he found out how the docket left, he immediately said, no, I don't want them, let them go back to where they can take them to General Sibiya's office.
So Mkhwanazi has alleged that those 121 dockets were relocated, right? And you do remember the story that they were relocated and were taken by Khumalo, which is the leader of the team as well. So apparently, Sibiya denies any form of wrongdoing, but does admit that friction and changes in coordination actually happened also with regards to these dockets. So that gap, my people, between claim and denial is a story's dangerous seam, okay? Because there's nothing else that is more dangerous than when people just don't want to agree with each other and such things actually happen. These admissions matter. The admissions that he has done matter because we need to start from an allegation to an action and then to a possible consequence. We want to understand what actually happened for them to be where they are today, and for us to be talking about these things today. In actual fact, why is it worth it? So there are two outcomes that I think are possible from what Sibiya actually said. Either these were tactical operational calls that were made in good faith but poorly communicated, or they were deliberate moves that actually disrupted investigations into politically charged murders. Now, it may have been intentional that they disrupt these whole investigations, or maybe it was actually the fact that he was unable to communicate properly to Mkhwanazi that he would need this, he would need that. He wants to communicate about the AKA situation and of which I don't think so, because he is very high up and is very experienced with regards to how these things work. And I don't think the excuse of saying someone would be busy or, I mean, really, provincial commissioner is not something I would expect from someone who is in his caliber and his leadership. Okay, this is what we are dealing with, my people. Sibiya's defense leans a lot heavily on portraying the inquiry as very biased and the raid as very political. But that defense only works if he can show clean internal records and lawful authorizations. And according to me, I don't think he was able to do so. His body language was not speaking to what he was saying. He was not answering questions directly. Not just directly, he was not even answering the questions that he was being asked. It's like he forgot what he was doing there. Thought it looked and felt like just a presentation of trying to rebut everything Mkhwanazi actually said. But it was very attacky, and it was very, it's like the only thing he wanted to do was just to paint all these people in a very bad, as an angry man, paint Mkhwanazi as an angry man who's looking for revenge, in actual fact. So at the moment, my people, the public records show a very messy maze of mutual accusations and Sibiya's own admissions about who instructed and why these lines were created when it comes to the investigators and what these investigators themselves can actually follow. But there's a lot of things that are going to happen next. I'm so excited for tomorrow, because the committee referred recusal questions to the speaker, and they're going to be dealing with this on Wednesday, not tomorrow, but on Wednesday. That will possibly slow things down. Meanwhile, the criminal investigation tied to the raid continues, my people. Okay, if anything on those phones ties leadership to improper transfer of payments, this is not just disciplinary. It could be criminal, okay? So please don't forget, this hearing today didn't close the book, my people. It ripped it open. Sibiya's words gave us clues and contradictions. That device has a lot to do with it. The devices may give us the answers, and I hope they do. We'll keep tracking the court papers, the committee transcripts, and every disclosed message. In actual fact, if you want a full breakdown of linked documents that I explained, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell and share this video, please. See you on the next one. Bye.
Allegedly. Allegedly. Oh, allegedly. My people, my people, my people.